Hi guys, I'm Gina, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a multi-stitch candy cuff, which looks like this. The one that I make is probably going to be just one color, or a bunch of random colors. So, if you want to learn how to make one, just stick around. Okay, so to make a cuff like this, or like the ones that I'm wearing, you really only need 3 things. One, a pair of scissors. Another is string. I'm going to be using this string, so it's easier for you to see it. But what I generally use is Stretch Magic. It's 0.5 millimeter. You can buy it at Michael's. And I just have a bunch of random different shades of blue that I'm going to use. So the first thing you're going to do is cut off a length of string you're comfortable working with. Okay. And then you're going to take 32 beads and just string them on like this. Okay, so you have your 32 beads. Now the reason you need 32 is because we're going to be building these first 2 rows right here, this little zigzag part. Okay? So this bracelet is 32 around. I find that 32 is generally a very good number because it fits most wrists, and it's not too tight, and it's not too loose, like this one. This is a 32, but I have really small wrists, so I can fit in like 28. You can make them bigger, or you can make them smaller, but they have to be done in even numbers, otherwise it won't work out right. So, just keep that in mind. Now, all you're going to do with this is just tie it off in a knot. Kind of tight, but not too tight. It is stretchy string, so don't be afraid to stretch it. Don't be afraid to tie the knot super tight, too. Just don't go so tight that they break. And then the shorter end, the one that has not the huge amount of string, you're going to cut off. Maybe like just close enough to the knot, but not so close that you cut the knot. Okay. So what's going on now is this string is coming out from between these 2 beads right here. I usually thread it through the first one, just so that it comes out a little cleaner. Now, in order to get this zigzag, we're adding the second row now, which is going to make this set of 2, and then 1, and then 2, and then 1. So what we want to do is we want to get it so that this bead gets pushed down and this one gets put here. See? So we're going to string the bead on, skip 1 bead, so skip this bead right next to where the string is coming out, and then thread it through the next one. That's going to put that bead into kind of like that little triangle. So again, skip a bead, string a bead on, skip 1, and thread through the next one. See how that works? Just go ahead and do that all the way around, and when you get back to here, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so then now that you've threaded this bead on, you've probably noticed already that you only have 2 beads left. So when you thread another one on, it's going to be coming out from this bead, and you already have a bead there. So what do? Okay, well, you thread a bead on, thread it through here, like normal, and then what we want to do is get it so that this string comes up through here so we can add this bead on. Okay, so all you're going to do is thread it through this one. Okay, so that last bead, the string gets threaded through 2 beads. Then, this part is the easiest part. The first and second rows are always the hardest. From here on, it's super simple. All you do is keep adding beads in between and threading it through the bead that's sticking up. Okay. Okay, I'll show you how to do the end one more time. You're going to have this little V here. Now, all you do is you string on a bead, put it through here like normal. So there are going to be 3 strings coming out of this bead now, coming through this bead. Pull it, and once again, we want to get up to here to start putting on another row. So thread it up through here. Okay. Now one thing that I suggest you do while you're doing this is I kind of hold the string like this when I'm putting a new bead on. The reason I do that is it keeps it tight so it all doesn't like flop around and loosen up, and it keeps it kind of standing. Otherwise it'll fan out like this, and you don't want that, because then it gives you a really loose bracelet and it doesn't look nice and tight like this. And sometimes it'll mess up your pattern if you're doing a pattern. But yeah, you just keep adding beads like that until you're satisfied with how big your cuff is. Oh, lost a bead. There it is. I think I might do another 2 rows, so it'll be 3 even. It'll be about this size. It will be this size. Okay, now you probably know how to do this by now, but I'll show you again. There's this little V here. You're putting another bead on top of here. So you put a bead on, thread it through this one right here, and then up through this one. Now, if you want to add on more string, because say you didn't cut enough, all you do is you have this, I use what's called a fisherman's knot because it generally stays very, very well, and you only have to do one knot. Well, technically it's 2 knots, but you only have to tie the knot once. You don't have to keep tying and tying like you do with like regular knots or whatever. So all you do, make a loop like this, and fold the end under and up through the loop, so you just have this little thing here. Okay? Don't pull that tight. You have your extra piece of string. I would suggest keeping it attached to the spool while you do this, because it's always a better idea. Okay, so your second piece of string, this is going to be hard to do midair, is going to go up through this loop from under to over. Okay? Then make a loop, but the loop is going to go over and curl under this string right here. So it's going to go under this, like this. Okay? And then what you do with this is this comes up over and gets pulled through. So what it ends up looking like is this. Okay. Now to tighten it, you're going to pull on this string and this string. And then you pull it like this, and that's not going anywhere. When you cut the tails off, don't cut them super close, otherwise you risk cutting the knot or cutting them short enough so they can slip back through the knot. I usually cut them so they're that long-ish. Maybe about the just whatever works for you. I mean, it's probably going to be a trial and error process. But I'm going to put one more row on here, and then I'll show you how to tie it off. See how that knot is kind of inside a bead? It hides it very well if you make it so that just control how much you pull it to keep it inside a bead. Either this one, or it's usually better to have it in this one. Okay, so now that you're at the end, this is the last bead you want to put on. Putting it right here. So up through this one. And since you're not adding any more beads on, you can stop right here. But I usually like to go up through this one anyway, because it keeps it tighter. So what you're going to do, the string is coming out of this bead, this way. Directly through this little slit here, there's a little gap here. Feed the string through, pull it under. It makes a loop. Make sure that the loop crosses, otherwise it won't really do much. And see how that kind of makes a knot? Pull that, and pull that, and it'll knot up like that. Just do that a couple times, however many you feel comfortable with. Make sure the loop doesn't go around another bead, like this, because that just will mess up how the whole thing looks, and you'll be sitting there for forever trying to untie and retie the knot. I know everyone ties their candy off differently. This is just how I do mine. You can find your own way of doing it, but this does work very well. So just cut the extra string off. And there you go. You finished it. Congratulations. Okay guys, so you finished your first candy cuff. I hope my tutorial helped you. I'll try to get some picture steps in at the end. Just pause them when you need to. Bye.